My name is Teacher. Okay. This shall be the second episode which I'll be uploading. Uh, I changed, like you noticed in the other video, that I'll be speaking mostly about ways in which people can make money in Africa. So this second episode, I'll be talking to my brother who's currently pursuing agriculture. He's mainly focusing on tomatoes. So we did our first episode, and late after doing, I noticed that we were not recording the video. We just managed to get just the audio. I don't know how that happened. That was clumsy of me. We tried the second time, and the network didn't go well. So we have just we have sort of compromised. We have just improvised so in this video it's mostly the audio, so enjoy. Don't forget to, if you are inspired, don't forget to put a like. Thank you so much. Oh, hello guys, how are you? Oh, my name is Teacher. Okay, so today I have another guest. So basically on our show we talk to business owner entrepreneurs. Basically we are just trying to unravel ways in which people can make money in Africa. So today I got a guest. He's a guest, but I don't know if we can say someone is a guest. They are there for the second time. They are more of a resident, I assume. So I've got Mr. Luverty. Yes, Mr. Chishamba. So the last time we talked to Mr. Chishamba, he was talking about this program which he has, which basically help men with their issues. He helps men who are struggling with getting hard, like those who have erectile dysfunctions and so on. So he ventured into a new uh, business. He's currently farming. He's currently a tomato farmer. So we are gonna talk about that side of his business, how it has been treating him, and how basically everything has been going, and what someone who plans on venturing into that business can look at it, anything. But I won't say much. It's already so. Hey, Mr. Lovett, it's good to have you once again.
Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast, where I'm going to share some of the experience that I've acquired over a short period of time that I've been into farming. Of course, I've been into farming since I was young, but it was something that was not published. But since I ran Save a Men movement, where we try to discuss problems and challenges that are faced by men, which one of them is drugs and substance abuse, the second being unemployment. So, as a teacher or as a mentor, I decided to show young people that farming is one of an important business that doesn't require a lot of capital, that doesn't require a lot of experience, or that doesn't require education. Let me put it in that way. For one to venture into it, education will be just an added advantage. What one only needs is labor and land, of which, from my perspective, for every nation to grow, there should be an intercourse between the youth in their land. If there is no an intercourse between youth in their land, that country or that nation is destined for failure. It's very unfortunate that in Africa there was a de-ideologization, or let me say, there was a mental indoctrination uh, that portrayed farming as a business for dunderheads. Let me put it in that way. So there was a driving force that was instilled in the youth of our day, that farming is not business. So venturing into farming or publicizing the project that I've been doing is part and parcel of mental ideologization of the youth, of people of my age mates. Let me put it in that way, and even younger people, to start looking farming as a business, or to start looking into farming as a profession.
Okay, okay. So I know you've been in farming for a long time. I know you grew up among a farming community, but it was mostly for
Yes,
subsistence, and
yes,
it was not this kind of crop. I know the province where you are coming from. It's
yes.
mainly dominant with is it maize and sorghum. So
Yes.
I wanted to ask, why would why tomatoes? Like, why farm tomatoes? What was the reason behind choosing that particular type of crop?
Allow me to say, tomatoes is only a plant where money grows on.
Uh,
So, one, tomatoes are much capital intensive, especially during rain season.
mm,
So I've tried it over three, four times or five times. This is the sixth time, if I'm not mistaken. And if you really check,
yeah.
tomatoes during this season, they will be very expensive. And if even if you have checked on my Facebook account, there's a certain
Mm,
point where I went to the market and they were being sold $1 for 5. And if you check, most hybrids will give you up to 72 fruits per plant. And then just to calculate 5 into 72, just look at how much one plant can give you. Of course,
oh,
when you look into farming, you must not just calculate profit as it is, but sometimes you have to calculate some of the things that are outside financial benefits. For example, if I have tomato plants right now, I can just go into the field and pluck some tomatoes. I use them to cook. Do you know what does that mean? It simply means I have now cushioned my salary or other streams of income from from being used to buy food, something like that. So th- that might look as if it's not a financial benefit, but the fact that I've saved $1 to buy 5 tomatoes, which will not last
yeah.
even for 3 days, it simply means that uh, I've managed to save $2 per week. Instead of going to buy tomatoes, I'm just going into the fields and buy them. So it simply means I have saved from my salary. I can put it in that way. The second issue being, as long as we are eating, it simply means we need tomatoes. So
Mm,
tomatoes will never flood the market. Even if they
okay.
flood, the the ability to realize, or the capacity to realize profits will still be there. So that's the major motive. That's what motivated to venture into tomato farming. At the same time, it's something that most people see it as if it is something that is very difficult to plant or to manage until harvesting. But I just wanted to show the youth, or to show people of my age mate, or to show people who are in the seven men movement, and to show people whom I spend most of my time with, that is something that is manageable, even if you are going to work. Because I manage going to work, I manage my small field, I manage seven men movement, I manage Mureo attempts. Those are some of the things that I do. So if you really check, I have limited amount of time, but I'm still managing to go to the fields and also have
Okay.
quality fruits. Let me put it in that way.
No, 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 no. That's great. That's great. That's great. So, from what you are saying like any other business, uh, tomatoes, like farming, let's not say tomatoes, farming, it has something to do with timing. You have to be a bit ahead of the game. You have to understand the season you are in, like you have to understand the market. Like, so
Yes.
what it means is, what would you say, like, let's say someone wants to come in this business. Someone is just to come in the comment section or meet you probably somewhere in the road and say, no, I see the work you are doing. How do I start? Uh, Maybe I just have a backyard. Like I don't have, because most people uh, struggle to come by a piece of land. So what should you tell someone? Like, how should they start? Like, yes.
You do not need a large piece of land. One thing that
Mm,
I'm 100% sure about is that nature does not allow vacuum. There's still vast tracts of land in Zimbabwe. And if you are seeking land, what you are seeking right now is already seeking you. What you only need to do is to align yourself with what you are seeking. I've learned a lot about tomato farming during COVID-19 era when they was shut down. Where I was renting by then, there was just a small backyard land, and I grew only there are around 10 tomato plants, and I planted them around March, if I'm not mistaken, and I ate those tomatoes maybe up to December, and I managed to sell some of the tomatoes only from 10 plants. So that's when I started to realize that so tomatoes can give you money. It's only a plant that money grows on. That's what motivated me. And background of the story, and the background of the story being, you really know, uh, salary aikwani. Even if
yes.
you are paid
Yeah, yeah.
2,000 years, even if you are paid 5,000 years, salary aikwani.
Mm,
You need
yeah, yeah.
something that cushions the salary. You need something that cushions the salary. So that was the biggest motivation for me to venture into farming. Even if you look at most politicians or prominent politicians, while they argue about land, chaotic something, what, but they are also jostling to have land. They are also into farming. So
Yeah.
one thing that I really know, and one thing that I've discovered, something that you are being discouraged to do, especially by the mainstream media, especially by the mainstream education system, especially by narratives that are shaped by algos, especially on social media. Just know that thing. You've got to want to do with your economic emancipation. You've got to do something to do with your own freedom, because never think politicians want us to be informed, because once we get informed we will make informed decisions. So they do not want us to be informed. They want us to be beggars. They want us to be slaves almost every day. So what they do, they create certain narratives. Like if you say so, if you say let's get into farming, you will hear people saying, so are we going to are we all of us, are we going to be farmers? Yes, we can all be farmers because we eat almost every day. Right now,
Yes.
I'm planting tomatoes, but I need chili to put in my relish. I need
Uh-huh.
meat. I need maize. I need rapoko. I need cassava. I need sweet potatoes. So what does that mean? If I specialize in farming tomatoes, someone who specializes in farming sweet potatoes, someone who specializes in pumpkins, and someone who specializes in rapoko, you get the sense. At the end of the day,
Yes.
the moment I need rapoko, I will be customer to the next farmer. So even if
Yeah.
all of us, if we venture into farming, it's only about timing and knowing the type of crop that you would like to grow. That's the issue that we must be worried about. Because if you really check right now, of course, you have asked me mainly focusing on tomato farming. But let's
Mm,
take it in this way. If you really checked recently, uh, there was official opening of a tobacco processing plant, and we've been exporting tobacco. So it simply means the demand of tobacco is increased. And those who with eyes and those who can read the markets have already ventured into tobacco farming because the demand for tobacco will be bit high from the local market as well as international markets.
Mm.
So it simply means those
Okay.
who have planted tobacco this season, they are going to they are going to make it. That's not a secret. Because whenever demand rises, it simply means that the prices are going to be higher. And you see, the following season, if tobacco pays this season, the following season, almost every farmer will stampede to tobacco farming.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if
Yes.
you are clever,
I
you don't go there. You do the opposite. Because everyone is going to make money next season, especially with the tobacco. And the following season, almost everyone will be attracted into the tobacco farming by the profits that people are going to make this season. And
no.
that's how business operates. New entries into the market will drive the prices down. And when the prices are driven down,
So while we're on that, I've noticed that, as for me, I only realized that when I was in my 30s. Uh, since I mostly grew up in the city, like I was in the city most of it. But what happens is, like what you were saying, there was a narrative that was put that farming is for, how do I say it, sort of for losers. Like, even when you see
yes,
someone telling someone, advising someone to farm, they are saying, you have failed city life. Why can't you just, you know, go, like, the way it was portrayed, it was, they made it seem like it was for losers. But one
yes,
thing that we as Africans fail to see is the fact that when Europeans moved into Africa, they pushed our ancestors and our grandfathers out uh, of the farming area and pushed them to cities, and they remained in the farms. And
yes,
like what you are seeing, even the story that is happening right now in South Africa, we even Trump, he gave a pass that no, farmers want to come here to America, you can come, and they
yes.
vowed to stay. They don't want to go to America, like. So probably there's something which is in farming that we as black people are failing to really understand.
Yeah, that's why I said there's need for indoctrination, the ideologization and constant re-ideologization of young people to look into the economy of the country or for them to be patriotic. I would rather say farmers are the most patriotic people than any other person you can have. They are the most patriotic. What's the problem that we have right now as Africans is food. Food insecurity is the problem that we have. And if you are business oriented, the first thing that you need to venture into is to solve your immediate problems. And the immediate problem that we have as Africans is food insecurity. And whenever you see the African budgets, when they are being done, the issue of food security is mentioned. And whenever every politician is campaigning, he talks about food. But they are not willing to indoctrinate us to participate in the production of food because they really know if someone comes and gives you a 2 kg of rice, he controls you. He who controls what you eat controls your mind. Because first thing we can be logical, but when the stomach is empty, logic escapes.
Yes,
So
yes,
they
yes.
really know for
That's a
them to enslave us, our stomachs must be empty and they should control the means of getting food. So unless if we are honest with ourselves, unless we become honest with ourselves that the end of our problems as Africans is self-sufficient, especially on the production of food. Because if you really check the so-called African friends are those who donate food, and the type of food they are donating to us are genetic modified foods. And if you really check the consequences of consuming genetically modified foods, lifestyle diseases, and it's a chain. It's a chain. Will be changed. And when you have lifestyle disease, what happens next? We go and buy from big pharmaceutical, big pharmaceutical industries, medication for diabetes, medication for high blood pressure, medication for cancer, medication for cardiovascular disorders, medication for gastrointestinal disorders. If you really check right now, almost everyone is suffering from acids. But what are those? What are those acids? It's something that has to do with the diet. If you check, a lot of women are suffering from a polycystic ovarian syndrome. If you check, it all goes back to diet. But because there's someone who is controlling what we are eating. So unless if we take responsibility, unless if we control the means of production of our food, we'll be playing. We will be joking.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand you on that aspect. So,
Mm. So
uh,
basic, basically, what I'm trying to say is that we are opting for cheap, junky food rather than producing quality food, which saves us from investing more into health. But we have been immobilized. I think you are getting what I'm trying to say. We've been
yes,
immobilized from producing our own food. And as Africans, we are not honest with ourselves, especially when it comes to the topic of food. We are not honest with ourselves. Look, we have pursued my degree under gender studies. Imagine studying gender studies. What do you want to study about gender? We know there's male, there's female, but because it has been incentivized, you were given money. There was money that was being thrown for you to study things that are useless. And after they have derailed you from studying things that are useful, they've withdrawn the funds that they were funding to non governmental organizations. And now we are complaining about unemployment. But is your qualification important to run the economy of the country? Definitely no. And sometimes you don't need any qualification, especially when it comes to farming. You just need experience and exposure. You need to try first year, second year, third year, fourth year, you will be a pro. So that's the problem that we have. And look what happens when you do gender studies after failing to get employment, and you have been systematically indoctrinated to think that farming is for losers. You've been systematically indoctrinated that farming is for unlearned dunderheads. You are there on social media calling out or scolding people who are into farming. But with farming, you never go wrong. Because if you really check, most successful business people are also into farming, are also directly involved in the production of food. Because if you really check, most African countries, especially in Southern Sahara, they are agro-based economy. Their economies eh, are much more supported by primary industry, of which farming is a major a contributor in the primary industry. Because we cannot talk of secondary industry when we do not produce raw materials. So first thing, we have to produce raw materials in abundance. We have to produce tomatoes in abundance. They flood on the market, and when they flood on the market, you know what? Necessity is the mother of invention. Who invent the ways to preserve those tomatoes? Who invent new markets for those tomatoes? So without producing adequate tomatoes or without flooding the market all year round, it simply means we are not going to invent ways to preserve those tomatoes. And we will continue crying about market flooding. We will continue to cry about unemployment. But who creates employment? That's the question that we must be asking ourselves. We must never look east. We must never look west. We must look within ourselves. What are we doing to create employment?
Yes.
And we
Yes.
have a
Absolutely.
lot of land that is lying idle. And
A
when a
lot
lot
of
of
it,
land
like,
is being and when there is underutilization of land, we must never complain about unemployment.
so
Because I just
from
want to give you a simple example. I just want to give you a
yes.
simple example here. A hectare of land
Mm.
can contain up to 24,000 tomato plants.
And it's
And let's say it's between 16 and 24,000 plants. And let's just reduce them to 20,000 plants.
yes.
Right? Let's just say each plant is going to give you 50 cents. Right? How much are you going to get? You are going to get at least 10,000 US dollars per season.
Mm.
And
It's
when
almost
we have
like
10,000 US dollars, we are just talking about 4 to 5 months. It's just a season we are having 10,000. So divide that 10,000 by 12,000 by 12 months. What is your
it's
average
around
income
500.
per month?
It's
It's more
around
than
500.
it's around $500 per month. Who
Uh,
is earning 500 US dollars right now?
the average salary is 250.
The average
250.
salary is 250, but you need just 1 hectare of land to have an average salary of $500 per month.
Mm.
Saka
So
nechidigiri chako iwewe chembwa chiya chiya nemunhu asina digiri anongomukira undotamba nemadhaka almost every day, he beat you.
mm,
But we are not
mm.
willing and we are not honest with ourselves. We are not willing to put the effort that is needed for you to get that 500 US dollars per month.
No, it's because like what we've been talking about it most of the time. Farming is taken as a thing for losers, or as a thing for people who failed city life, or as a pension thing. Like everyone, we had this saying that no, you're getting old, why can't you go to the village and farm? But we forget something, that this person for the past 30 years, they haven't been farming. And farming is something that should be taken as is as a full-time thing, because you can't get experience without doing it. So that's
Farming
why you
is,
realize people come and they fail, because they take it as a, in fact, people want get rich quick schemes. That's how they fail. They'll tell you I failed, yet they just did for one season. One
yeah,
season.
we also have to talk about capital intensity of farming. We also have to talk about the fluctuations in the market.
Mm.
That is something that we must be honest with ourselves. Like last week, Sandagre Madomas was going for $30, but this week it's going for $12. So markets
Oh,
fluctuate. Markets
okay,
fluctuate.
okay.
That's why I always say when you are doing these things, what you have to do, you have to work with the at least the most minimum price. For example, I said one plant can give you an average of 60 fruits.
Yes.
An average of 60 fruits. There's no any way you are going to sell 60 fruits for 50 cents. Even if we
Okay.
say the market is flooded, there's no any way you are going to sell 60 fruits for 50 cents. So you will find out
Okay.
it if you calculate the profits using at the least uh, minimum price at the market or the worst market price, you are still going to be left with something. Because when you plug these tomatoes or when you harvest these tomatoes, you are not going to harvest them once off. Maybe you are going to take 3 months harvesting them. Aushayiwe 2 weeks dzauchajuma domasi risiko. So tunenge uchitengesa sandaki at 35 at 40 bucks. And aushayiwo week
Okay.
rauchasvika sandaki uchitengesa at 7 or at $8. That happens in farming. So uh, what will cushion you against such issues are numbers. If you have good numbers, for example, myself, I have around 4,000 tomato plants. It's a good number. And when you hear that the markets is fluctuated down, is going down, it simply means that on that week unongoplaka madomasi anenge anyanya kutsvuka aya paunonzwa kuti market yadavira wakuplaka madomasi ese wakumbomhanya nawo kumarket, something like that. That's how you work.
So basically, when the market is like that, you just have to be patient. Just take those ones who are ripe and try to
Yes,
delay and see wait for the market to pick up.
yes. Because even when tomatoes are ripe, they can stay even up to another 2 weeks,
Oh, okay. Okay.
especially if they
Okay.
are quality fruit.
Mm, mm. Okay. So this is like a business you would advise someone who has like a
Uh,
backyard. They can get into
uh,
because
personally,
it's
personally, I'm not a business advisor. I'm just a doer. So
yes.
when I do things, if you see they are yielding something that is good, why not copying?
Mm,
This
mm,
is where I also have a problem with our schooling mentality. Our
mm.
schooling mentality inhibits us from growing and inhibited us from cooperation. Because when you cooperate
Yes.
when you're at school, you were accused of copying, but that's not copying, it's cooperating. If you show me
Okay.
the answer that you have written, I haven't copied your answer. I've just cooperated with you in order to get the actual answer. So if you see me doing something that is good, just cooperate with me. I
Yeah.
will show you the actual answer. But it's unfortunate that while it's when you were at school, you were taught not to copy. But why not
Yes.
copying something that is good? It's
Yeah.
because you
So
were
let's say
indoctrinated.
we have a guy is
Hmm.
probably living maybe one of the suburb, either medium or high. But the point is, he has like a backyard, and that
Hmm.
backyard is not being used. So
Hmm.
probably this is sort of a side hustle he can try if it makes sense for him. He can go out there and try to seek land to capitalize on it. Because when people are saying side hustles, we think of things that have nothing to do with math. Understand? Because from the way you are speaking about it, it sounds like it's something that somebody can do as a side hustle because you are doing it as a side hustle because you are going to work.
No, for me,
So,
farming is not a side hustle. For me, farming is one of my professions. It's only the fact that I just need multiple streams of income, and there's no my stream of income that I consider side hustle. All of my streams of
mm,
income, I treat them seriously, and I
yes,
give them
yes,
respect they deserve. And dinner and not side hustle, I treat them seriously. Back to your question of someone who have got a land on his backyard. Eh,
uh,
let me say, let me say this. Have you checked the influence of the so-called Mbinga culture, how it has shaped our lifestyles?
yeah, people don't want to work, or
People do
people
not
are
want to work. So
they don't
people
want
who
that.
have backyards, they would better treat them as spaces for braai, as spaces for planting grass, which you call lawn. But
Yeah.
does that add something into the pocket? Does that add something to the output of the nation? Definitely no.
No.
So when resources are given to Dandaheads, you see them planting grass and call that grass lawn. And if you really check, most of the funds that have been taken from farmers, they've been turned into lodges.